fills Kol Shemahon, all the names. It talks about God and says, in one place it says that God is complete. We're going to see it says it again. And in another place it says that God fulfills, he fills all the names. The Shema, that the names, what are these names that God fills up all the names? What does that mean? Hakavana, the intention, al ein sof, on Esser Spheros, I'm sorry, in the 10 Spheros, period. The Esser Spheros and these 10 Spheros, Nikraim, are called Shemahon. They are called names. Why are they called names? Liot, because Shehem, that these 10 Spheros of God are Shemot Bilavad, they are only God's names. What are the 10 Spheros? The 10 Spheros are the different aspects of God's personality. Again, I said this yesterday, but say it again. The 10 spheres of God's personality are called the secret of Jewish faith. The secret of faith. And through the 10 spheres of personality, we say, why do people worship idols? There's all this idolatry in the world, right? There's all this idolatry in the world. We say that these other religions, this is wonderful. We say that all the other religions are idolatry. What is idolatry? Idolatry means you worship a creation. You don't worship the creator. So what's wrong with that? At least you worship something. Who says that we're right? Maybe they're right. Who knows? And what's wrong with idolatry? The answer is like this. Worshiping God is not just a psychological thing. You do it because you need it. You have to have a crutch. You have to this. It helps you. There's some people are more spiritual. Some people are more spiritual. Let everybody do what they want. No. Worshiping God means that you're ideally you're contacting to reality. You're living a real life. You're living a real life. Right? What's wrong with people being, let's say, drug addicts or alcoholics? Or there's some countries, I think there's like these countries like Sweden and Finland, that place, that they said there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody just does what they want to. There's even one system in psychology that says there's no such thing as sickness. There's no such thing as sickness. If you're happy, that's good. Right? Whatever a person is, if you're not happy, then you got to change it. But if you're happy, then right? So a person hears voices. If he gets along, then it's okay. A person's always depressed. That's what he likes. Then that's all right. He just likes to lock himself in his house. Let him, it's okay. He has a thing about cleaning his hands all the time. Let him clean his hands. He's got compulsions. Who says that there's such a thing as right, there's something that's wrong, there's something good, and there's something that's bad? There's something that's called complete, and there's something that's called incomplete. Who says? Who says it's bad to be a drug addict? So, generally speaking, the Rebbe spoke about this. Generally speaking, all these people, even if they say, you can do whatever you want to, so most of them will agree that if a person wants to kill himself, they'll try to stop to that. Because it can be a person can be motivated by bad impulses. People can make mistakes. It's possible a person can make mistakes. Right? Ideally, it's supposed to be that if a person wants to live a world where there are no mistakes, and where it's complete, then it'll connect himself to God. Why? What's God? Because what is life? Life is filled with decisions. The person has to make decisions all the time. Right? If you don't take God into consideration in your decisions, so it's very difficult for you to make the right decision. Because any decision that you make is not going to see the whole picture. That was Abraham's message to all mankind. That's what Abraham was so crazy about, advertising God. Abraham had to advertise God, the first Jew. Why did he have to advertise God? Let everybody live. Let everybody do what they want. Let them worship idols. Abraham went around and broke the idols. Why did he break the idols? What was his point? Because the idea is, a person, if he is not connected, is not aware of what God is, so he can't live in a complete world. He only sees a small picture of what's going on. It could be that small picture is, might really work well for a while, like communism did, or fascism, or Freudianism, or these things. It could work well for a while. Good. You have a little system, and you live within the system. all these other religions. But ideally, says the Rebbe, there is such a thing as ultimate reality, ultimate good, ultimate completion. And a person has to have this ultimate good, ultimate completion in mind all the time. And if he does, then he's going to say, hey, I want to do what the Creator, my Creator, God created me, and He's creating me every second. God is creating me every second. He's creating the whole world every second. Let's go according to His instructions. Let's do what the instruction wants. Without that, so you could take a washing machine, and if you don't know what the instructions are, so you can use it as a closet. Right? It has a door. You put things inside of it. There's a closet. Well, what about cleaning your clothes? I don't know. I got a problem. I don't know how to keep these things clean. I go down to the river. You have a washing machine, man. You have a washing machine. Read the instructions and use the instructions. It says, no, I keep my valuables in there. I'm not going to open it. You probably want to get my valuables. I'm not going to open up my valuables. You got the whole thing wrong, right? It's the same thing. What's a person for? A person is not for having pleasure. A person is not for being lazy. A person is not for getting angry. A person is not for taking drugs. A person is not for making money. That's not what a person is made for. To do the thing. You want to do those things. Put it in the right place. Maybe there's sometimes you should get angry. Certainly there's a lot of times you should have pleasure. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to put it in the right place. How do you know how to put it in the right place? That's by connecting to what's called the shleimus ha'atzmus. By connecting yourself to the ultimate truth. A lot of times you have to make painful decisions, difficult decisions. Right? Difficult decisions. But that's values. That person has to have different values. If a person lives a life only to take drugs, so he's willing to kill his mother and father if he gets drugs. That's his whole purpose. His ultimate value is his pleasure. And if a person is always depressed all the time, then his ultimate value is, being miserable and negative and everything like that. But that's wrong. That's not so. That is wrong. Who are you to say what's wrong and wrong? So that's the idea of completion. That's the idea of completion. That's the message Abraham wanted to bring to the world, and that's the message that finally Mashiach is going to bring to the world. That you can connect yourself to the ultimate, total reality, which is called the Creator of the universe. And this Creator of the universe has a personality. And that personality is called God's 10 sfirot. In other words, God has kindness. And God is, this ultimate reality has a personality, and we're created in God's image. We can see from ourselves a little bit about what this ultimate reality is. And that's why we have rabbis and rebbes and chassidut in order to connect us to this ultimate reality, ideally. And as we see, it's not an automatic thing. I mean, we've been learning chassidut, and you see that we're not the ultimate perfect people. Because what is perfect? Perfect doesn't mean you're some sort of a swami or some guy in India that nothing bothers you, and you're totally removed from the world, and you don't even want to get married, and you're always smiling, and always this. That's not a perfect person. Perfect person is a person that knows how to make the proper decisions. Look at the perfect person. What is the perfect person? Abraham. Perfect person. You see anything special about Abraham? What did he do special? Right? He made rockets to the moon. He was some sort of a special, weird. What does the Torah tell us about? He did miracles. He was tremendously successful. No. He just made the right decisions. David, King David, right? Everybody hated him. They wanted to kill him. Everyone was against him, right? All the time. Right? Why did everybody couldn't stand him. They were always all against him. They were all rebelling against him all the time. Korach and all these people. Moses didn't even get into the land of Israel. Right? But he made the right decisions. Once he made a decision, that we can ask a question. Right? So that's the idea here. Rebbe wants to tell us that if we can connect ourselves, our intellect, our minds, to the fact that there's an ultimate, reality and a creator, and this ultimate reality has a personality, things he likes, things he doesn't like, purpose, then we will be on the way to completion. And completion means you'll just be what God created you. Well, you'll be a human being. Right? You'll be a human being. Ideally, there'll be a revelation of tremendous pleasure in the days of the Mashiach. Mashiach will bring tremendous pleasure that people will have, a tremendous pleasure by doing what God wants, the whole world. So let's look further. Here we go. So there's 10 spheros. These 10 spheros are called God's names. And it says that God, you fill these names. Afterwards, Omer, it says, Va'ant, quote, Va'ant hu, and you are Shleimu dekulu. You are the completion of everything. End quote. So it says on one hand, God, you fill everything. In other words, it says you are the completion of everything. What does it mean, completion? Tzarech lam, we have to understand. The ma'acher, that since. The antu, that you are. Mamolik al shemahon. that because God, you fill all the names as Mahu Omer. What is it that it says? In this Pasach Eliyahu, in this book that's called Tikuni Zohar, what does it mean that it says, further, quote, Va'ant hu, that you are Shlemo, the kulu, completion of everything. After it says that God fills everything, what does it mean you're the completion? Isn't it the same thing? Achar, since She'ez Sfiros, since the 10 Sfiros, they are Mala'in, if these 10 Sfiros, all the names of God are filled up, Hare, behold, Einun Chaserin, they're not missing, they're not lacking. Question mark. Exclamation mark, I'm sorry, exclamation mark. Lama, why? Tzarichim, do you need lashlim to fill them? Question mark. In other words, like if you say to a person, let's say a person is sick, and you say, you are cured, and I'm now going to make you healthy. What does that mean? I'm cured. I'm already cured. What do you mean? I'm not healthy? It's the same thing. It says, God, you fill all your names, and you complete them. What does that mean? You fulfill all the names and complete. Now, what are the names of God again? The names of God are the powers that God uses to create the world. God fills all these names. In other words, these names are not empty. These can be filled up with life, with meaning. That means that the world can have meaning to it. The names of God, the powers that created the world, can be filled with meaning, with joy, with blessing. That's pretty good. Filled with meaning, joy, blessing, and joy. That's really good. So if they're filled, so everything is filled up. There's nothing more than that. He says, no. Then there's another thing called completion. Completion. Ela, Bad, Mizeh. From this, the fact that the Zohar talks about two things. One of them is filling everything, and the other one is completing everything. Move on, it's understood. The milah, that the word. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry. The male, that, quote, being full. Sorry, I made a mistake. The male, that the being full. And another quote, shlemos, and being complete. In the language of the Zohar, are based in Yoni, they're two different things. But and like I told you before, we're going to see that being filled means like being healed, and being complete is a totally different thing. Being complete is a totally different thing. Completion is only with a revelation of God Himself. We'll see. Tzarech Lab, we have to understand, and that's what's going to be in the days of the Mashiach. We'll see. Tzarech Lab, we have to understand. Hello, is it not so? Inyan Hashlema. That this whole topic of completion, Shayech, is relevant. Rak only the Ha'or and the light. Shehu, which is the Erech, comparable. The Shaychut, and connected. Ela Sfirot, to the Spirit of God, the aspects of God. The As, and then Nofel, it is possible. Lomar, to say, Shasfirot, that these spheres of God, these aspects of God, they are chaserin, missing. Shachar, and drawing down, Ha'or, the light, Hanimshach lahem, which is drawn down to them, Mashlim, fills, Chisronan, what they're lacking. Huh? Irrelevant. It is relevant to say. In other words, what do we do Torah mitzvahs now for? According to the Kabbalah, there's all these books of Kabbalah. They say that what are we doing Torah mitzvahs for? I don't know if you've ever seen books of Kabbalah, but the books, Chassidut, bring a lot of these ideas of Kabbalah down. And the books of Kabbalah explain that every time you do a commandment, you're drawing down a different type of light. That's what it means. Baruch atah. The beginning of every blessing is Baruch atah. Blessed are you. What does it mean? Blessed are you. What does it mean that God, you are blessed? does that mean that you are blessed? That doesn't really mean anything. What does it mean? You are blessed. You ever thought of that? Baruch.
Yeah, I read
That's
about
your
it.
name,
You
actually.
bring down blessing. Blessing.
Right, but that it's not exactly good. I mean, if you, so it shouldn't say you are blessed. Blessed means God, you get blessed.
You get blessed in order to bring down blessing.
Yeah, but the word blessed doesn't exactly sort of mean that, right? I mean, the word blessed, it should say, you are a blessing. Oh. Right? Ata mevorech. You bless. Oh, God blesses. Not so much that he's blessed. So we say the word blessed means that God, we're drawing God down. Baruch atah, that God, you are being drawn down into the world. What does it mean God is way up there and we're down here? No. God is, of course, everywhere and everything, but we don't see it. We don't feel it. It's almost like, let's say, a child is very stupid, and you give him a pill to make him smart. Where did he get the smarts from? Smarts we're everywhere. He just becomes aware of truth things. He becomes smart. Means you can understand what truth is, what the answers to questions are. Right? So it's the same thing. The answers are already there. He just opens his mind up. So it's the same thing. Hashem is really here. But blessing, every time we do a commandment, we make a vessel in the world for God's blessing to come down. So it's not so much that God is the source of the blessing, but we're saying that God, you are blessed. Baruch atah, you are blessed. We draw you down. The word for blessed means you're drawn down. Baruch means to draw down. We draw you into the world. What does it mean? So the world is lacking, and every time you do a commandment, or you pray, or you learn Torah, you draw godliness into the world. You're filling up the world with godliness. Filling up the world. So that's what it means. The word to be complete until the world is complete, right? That's what completion is. Says this idea of completing something means something must be missing, and then you complete it. Isn't that what it means? But Atzmos Ein Sof Baruch Hu, the essence of Ein Sof, blessed be He. Hare, behold, Haspirot, these names of God that we have to draw blessings into. We say the names of God are the powers that create the world. So the world needs blessings. The world is lacking a lot of things. There's a lot of pain and trouble in the world. We're trying by the commandments to draw godliness into the world. Go out of the world. That's filling the world. That's light. But we say that's called filling. But making completion is only in Ein Sof. Behold, the spheros, hand they are, the Ein Aroch, incomparable. Lagabi, regarding Ha'atzmos, the essence, period. The Ha'atzmos, and the essence of God, Muvdal, is separated, Lagamri, totally, Me'aspheros, from the spheros. Im Kain, if so, Ma Shayach, what is it relevant? Lomar, to say, quote, the Antu, that you are the one, Shleim Odekulu, are the completion of everything. Shemashlim Otam, that you complete them. Just say, God, you fill everything, and that's it. What do you have to say? God, you're filling everything, and you're completing everything. Says the Rebbe, but Ha'inyan Hu, the answer is like this. Now, why is the Rebbe going through all this business about being full and being complete? The Rebbe wants to say, nowadays, all we have is being full. In the days of the Mashiach, things are going to be complete. But what's the difference between being full and being complete? You're going to see. Complete is only the essence of God. Full is anything in the creation. In the future, there's going to be, the essence of God will be revealed here. Let me give you an example. Maybe I can give you an example. I don't know if it's a good example. I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a person, he's poor. He's going around and he's begging for money and he's looking for a job. And when he's hungry, he takes from the garbage cans. And if he can get a free sandwich, he's really happy. He's filling what he needs, right? And sometimes one day he finds $100 bill on the ground, or he gets a job for $20 an hour. Oh, he's really happy. He can buy himself a new pair of shoes, and he gets even a better job, and something will teach him. He can go to university. He can learn a better, get more trained. So he gets a job for $1,000 a week, for $5,000 a week. Somebody comes up to him and says, "You guy says I'd like to write a book about my life, right? How I struggled, how I did." He says, "1 second, what's your name?" He says, "My name is, Baumgarten." He says, "Baumgarten? Your name is Baumgarten?" "Yes." "Why, you're the king. You're the king of the whole country." What are you talking about? I had to work hard from it. He says, "No, you're the king's son. You're the king's son. You maybe had amnesia, something like that. You went away from the palace. You're the king." Now, a person who's a king, he's not lacking anything. Not just not lack. It's not possible for him to lack anything. He's got the whole kingdom as his. You understand? So it's a whole different thing. Filling your lack means filling whatever is missing. But by the king, nothing is missing. You understand, Bora? So it's the same thing. The world is a creation of God. It's the names of God. There can be lacking. But God himself, he's the king. If the king is revealed here in the world, then it's not only is nothing lacking, it's impossible for there to be anything lacking. You understand? That's what's going to be revealed in the days of the Mashiach. That's what Judaism is talking about. But this is not science fiction. Right? It's a nice idea. But the Rebbe is talking about that it really is going to happen. And it's happening now. That's what the Rebbe is saying. It's happening now. That's going to be the very last line you're going to see of the Maamar. Let's go. But the Inyan is like this. Tehine, behold. Zeh ma shekatuv. That what it says. Quote, Va'antu shlemo, that you are the completion, the kulu of everything. Ein zeh, this is not rock only. Milui, filling up, al chesron, what's lacking. The kasiv, like it is written, ki ein, quote, ki ein machsor, there is no lacking, lire'av, to those who fear him. Haperushu, what does it mean that there's nothing lacking? Haperushu, the meaning is to ein machsor, that there's nothing lacking. Not that there's nothing lacking, that you fill up what's lacking. It means there's never anything lacking. If you're in a situation where nothing can possibly be missing. What does King David say? Hashem ro'i lo echsor. God is my shepherd. I'm not lacking anything. What does it mean I'm not lacking anything? Well, David wasn't lacking. He was lacking a lot. He had enemies all the sides. He had troubles from his own family. God, what do you mean he's not lacking? David said, as long as I'm really connected to you, Hashem, then I'm not lacking anything. It says by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, one of his pupils, mourned, prayed for the temple, the rebuilding of the temple, on Lag BaOmer, on the day that Rabbi Shimon passed away, and that pupil was punished because Rabbi Shimon, there was no destruction of the temple. There was a level of what's called completion. We'll see. Ein machzor, there's nothing lacking, liriyab, to those who fear you, means she'en mamalei hachisaron. It's not that there's a filling of what's lacking. The hainu, namely, the ha'or, that the light, nit alem, shenit alem, which was concealed, al yodei, by means of, hatzimtzum, the first contraction. I'll explain this in a second. Hine, behold, kishen nimshach, when it was drawn down, who it, memole et achisaron, he fills all lacking. Shenaaseh, which was made. Al yedei, by means of. Hatzimtzum, the contraction. Okay, let me say it quickly and then I'll explain it. When God created the world, he hid over himself. He concealed himself. That's called the tzimtzum. And this tzimtzum, then God was able to make a new type of light. And this new type of light was God's speech. With that, he created the world. That's what it says in the Bible. The Bible says in the beginning, God spoke. And he said, let there be light, let there be this, let there be this. This speaking of God is what's called the beam of light. This comes after what's called the tzimtzum. God made this amazing trick where he concealed himself. He concealed his oneness. He concealed his truth. He concealed his completeness. He concealed it. And then he created a world, and from that time, the world, the whole creation of the world is only lacking. And he put in this world, the lowest place that's lacking almost everything, he put in this world man. And the job of man was to fill the world back up. That was the job of man, to work on the garden and to fill it up. Like that says, la'avda'u l'shamra. So this first concealment that God concealed himself is called the what? Tzimtzum. Okay, Baruch. Tzimtzum. You wanted a little more Kabbalah, so here you got it. Tzimtzum. First of all, right, so what are we saying? God is ultimate completion. God is ultimate reality. How did God create this world? He created it by means of concealing this ultimate reality, by this ultimate completion. Concealed. This concealed is called the tzimtzum. The tzimtzum means the contraction, and afterward there were subsequent tzimtzums. God made more and more different types of contractions, different types of concealments, so that this world is not just God concealed. This is the concealment being concealed. And not even that. This is the concealment of the concealment of the concealment being concealed. In other words, God concealed himself 10 times, 100 times, 1,000,000 times. In order to, each one is a different veil and a different covering and a different contraction. The ways that God concealed himself. Until finally we got this world. And we are made in God's image. Our job is to fill up everything that's lacking. To fill up all this concealment. Or, how do we do it? The drawing down of light. He is al yadei, by means of Torah and mitzvahs. V'ka'asher, and when? Nimshach is drawn. Or, when you draw down this light through doing Torah and mitzvahs, that's what I told you before, of making blessings and doing the commandments. Who, learning Torah, who is Miloi achisaron. You're filling up the lack in the world. So every time you do Torah and a mitzvah and say a blessing and learn Torah, you're fixing up the world. Fixing up the world. In addition to the fact that you're making a place for yourself in the world to come and everything, but Chassidut does not stress that almost at all. Totally not. You're fixing up the world. The world is the main place. You're fixing up the world because this world is really lacking. This world is really lacking light. And when you do Torah mitzvahs, you fill up the lack, right? You fill up what's missing. Calls that this, all this, that when you do a commandment, you fill up the world, you fill up what's lacking, you take away some of the troubles from the world. Calls that all this, who is Ba'or, the light, Shayach, which is relevant, Ela Olamas, to the world. But Ba'atzvos in soul, in the essence of God. This thing that we make blessings, this is only irrelevant to the world, because the world is lacking. But in the essence of Hashem, Baruch Hu, Sham there, Hu Inyan is, Hu Inyan is one word, is the topic of Hashlemus, what's called completion. Semicolon. The sham, that there, by the essence of God, Eino Shayach, it is not relevant. Kolal is the entire inyan, the entire topic of a chisaron of lacking. Close the entire topic of lacking. Right? It's like saying the king. You're going up to the king, you give the king $10, you give him $50. The king is not lacking your money. The king is not lacking anything. Right? The king is not lacking power. The king is not lacking. Let's say there's a person who could be the king of the world. King of the whole world. Rules the whole entire world. Right? He's lacking money. He's lacking manpower. He's lacking. What's he lacking? He's not lacking. At the same thing, here we have Hashem as the king of the universe. It's very difficult to